sprayed well enough to get algae, seaweed off of my equipment as needed. Definitely getting most of the salt water off. It did a fine job. If you're like me and tired of trying to figure out how to wash your gear, it can be legitimately hard depending on your situation or circumstances, then this video is for you. My wife and I have been busy trying to find a solution to this problem, and so we explored a couple different solutions. And so in this video, I wanted to review a product that we bought off of Amazon. So just to be clear, it's not sent to me for free. I used it a number of times, and I'm reviewing the product as an end consumer myself for your benefit, and you can choose if you like it or go with something else. But anyways, I do a lot of shore diving in the Puget Sound, and that usually means you're pretty salty afterwards. There are some freshwater dives, but generally see more interesting things in saltwater, so salt it is. And as divers, we know how badly saltwater can corrode pretty much everything you have. And so it's really good to run everything through fresh water as much as possible. And so it's really nice if you have like a dive shop and you can hose everything down. That's not always the case. We're not always doing boat dives here. It's usually shore dives. You put it into your car, you go home, and you have to take everything out, maybe spend an hour spraying it down there. But if you're like me, it's nice to find a more optimal path. I've seen a lot of local divers have a whole bunch of different solutions. This one is not a bad solution. So this is the Helio LX NEMO equipment portable high pressure shower. So if you don't like this for scuba diving, you can also take it camping and take a shower, I don't know, car camping or something. I don't know. I haven't used it. It's a very niche case. If you found my channel because of this product, I can only speak to it as a scuba diver washing off salt off of my gear. You can let me know if that hits your use case or not. But in general, this is about a 11 liter or 2.9 gallon water jug, which supposedly gives you about 5 to 7 minutes of spray time, and that depends on how aggressively you're probably pumping it. But I tended to have plenty of water to usually wash my gear and often a buddy's gear at the same time. And that's including my dry suit. I try to wash everything, all my accessories, the cameras, all the little pieces as well. And if I did have any water left, I would usually put all of my electronics in a milk crate and just run the water through them to saturate them a little bit and then dump it in. But this is what it looks like out of the box, and it's just kind of a big tank. And so you see that I have it partially pressurized here. It's not fully pressurized, and it comes with a little foot pad, and it kind of connects on the bottom here. And you can kind of see that it has two little nozzles out of the bottom and a handhold here, and it has a thick rubber on the bottom. And so if it's slightly pressurized, the reason why I keep it slightly pressurized is it holds its shape in my car. It's not rolling around and sloshing around quite as much, and I can kind of put it somewhere securely. But also importantly, on the bottom, this piece holds its shape with some pressure inside, so you can kind of stand it up easier. But you kind of see one thing too that kind of gets me. If you find that it's not pressurizing very easily, it's usually because these hoses are very easy to kink, and if you have any kink inside of them, you won't get any pressure or pressure through this nozzle, or pressure potentially going into it through this pump pad. But anyways, so you kind of get both of these through a little crack here. So both of the hoses go through that crack, and this will you generally just sit on the ground. You open one of these. I usually leave the one on the bottom closed. You open one of these so that it fills with air, and you just step on it. And you step on it until it compresses enough, and it gives you that high pressure to be able to squirt water through this. And it probably isn't pressured. If I were to squirt this, I'd probably squirt it all over myself in this house on this video. So I'm not going to do that. I have plenty of clips of washing my gear, so you can get a judge of how well it sprays. But it sprayed well enough to get algae, seaweed off of my equipment as needed. Definitely getting most of the salt water off. It did a fine job. The hose is about 2.1 meters or 7 feet in length, and that's more than plenty for washing and potentially taking a shower afterwards. So normally I would just push this thing to engage the shower, and it works pretty well. But it also, if you wanted to make it continuous, you can use this thing here and just hold it down. So it's kind of very simple design. They also have a little clip here, which I guess you can use to put this thing. I haven't really used it too much, but you can rest it there, and it's kind of aesthetic. One thing I will talk about in terms of quality, and I really like when I first started using it, I was thinking to myself, there's no way this little fabric here is going to last if this thing filled in water. And of course, it didn't last. The thing almost ripped off on me pretty, I don't know. I'd probably used it maybe 10 times and it ripped already. So I would advise if you're using this for scuba diving or not using this thing for scuba diving, and maybe they have a warning on the label. I don't know. I'm sure I was notified somehow, but that is definitely going to rip. It just ripped right off. So that's a bummer because it makes it a lot harder to carry. And it's an awkward thing to carry, to be honest. But my biggest feedback, if someone from NEMO is watching this, is please make these stronger so that it won't rip when you're trying to carry this thing. Because when it's full of water, it can be pretty damn heavy. But anyways, if you're going to be hiking around with this thing, I'd probably consider that more heavily. But just moving it from your faucet to your car, it's not the worst case. And you see that you can depressurize the sink by releasing the cap a little bit, and it's getting a lot more floppy now. You're never supposed to leave this thing highly pressurized because it's bad for the container. So what I generally do is I release the gas in it, release the pressure, and then I seal it because I don't want it to lose its shape entirely. So just enough that it's not fully pressurized. It's been working well for me so far. Grab here, which also has very sketchy handles. I'm pretty sure these won't last either. So I don't know. They really need to improve these handles. But like I said, if you're not hiking around with it, that's not a big concern. But you're definitely going to rip these handles if it's full of water. They also have a handle on the bottom. So I would recommend that if you are carrying this thing a little bit of distance, rely on the handle. Just carry it like this, or carry it. Don't use the handles because you'll rip them like this. One nice thing is it has a very large cap, so if you had some algae or something building in there, you can see through this transparent lens. You can take the cap off and clean the inside. It's a neat feature, but it's worth pointing out so that you can keep it clean. And supposedly if you leave it out in the sun all day, you can shower supposedly with hot water at the end of the day. It's not really important for scuba diving, but I thought I'd mention. The listed dimensions are about 23 by 43 centimeters or 9 by 17 inches. Of course, if you're trying to, at the end of the day, you just use all the water, it comes down and takes a very small amount of space. So you might be asking yourself, how much does that thing weigh fully with water? I will say it's not light. It's about 11.8 kilograms or 26 pounds full. So that's not light, and definitely don't rely on those handles. In terms of the foot pedal, I would say that you have to pump maybe every 10 seconds. You will have to have a foot on it and be pumping it. I guess you don't really need to pump on it, but the pressure will definitely lose pressure over time. And so to keep a nice steady pressure, I would say it's probably about one pump every 10 to 15 seconds. So at the time of this review, it's about $160. But for the cost of saving and maintaining your expensive scuba gear, that sometimes it can often be well worth the price, especially if it saves you time in your day from having to run around, try to figure out how you wash the salt off your gear, and also wash the salt off your gear sooner than later. Those are all kind of factors depending on your situation. This could be a reasonable solution for you depending on the circumstances. So if you are such a diver that you've been running into corrosion issues, trying to figure out how to wash your gear off in a meaningful amount of time, and also costing you a lot of time in your day to figure out how to wash it off, then do consider. If you've tried other options, please let me know. This is something that's worked for me, but I'm always looking to try something new. So if you found something that works for you, let me know. Maybe it's something I can review for the channel, or maybe there's genuinely just better solutions out there. So I'm always interested in learning from you as well. Let me know in the comments below. So what do you think of the Helio LX? It's a bit niche, but I love your thoughts as well. If you're interested in other dive gear reviews, check out this series up here. Otherwise, YouTube is using its enhanced and highly sophisticated algorithms to think that you like this video up here. Be sure to click there if you hit the mark. The more you know, the more you'll love. Protect the ocean. Until next time.